Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Assembly Member.
I want to say, first off, well, thank you to the men and women of the NYPD. Thank you for what you do each and every day. I want to say that I support the initiatives that you outlined here today.
Thank you.
And especially when it comes to the parity issue and disability. Certainly, they all take the same risk, and one shouldn't be treated differently than the other. And so I support you, and I lend my voice to you to use as you continue to fight this fight. I just had three relatively quick questions. In October, we had a terrible tragedy with the shooting of police officer Randolph Holder. I believe that there is a tremendous problem with the drug diversion laws that we have currently in the state of New York.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get just your opinion, if you could just talk a little bit about this. Someone who had 4 felony drug convictions, in my view, should never have been released from prison and put into a diversion program. And had he been kept in jail where he belonged, I believe that police officer Holder would be alive today. And so I'd like to just get your perspective on this, and what are your concerns about the drug diversion law, and should it be changed?
I think that when you have someone with such a violent history that's there, when they go before the judge, he or she needs to have all the information in front of them to make that decision. Someone that goes into a diversion program should be someone that's nonviolent, that shows a proclivity to do better, to get better, and maybe they've made a mistake. But what we've seen is that's been bastardized, where you go in, it's just to clear the calendar, to clear the docket, to let's just put them in the diversionary program for drug treatment, alcohol treatment, and all those different types of things, which are fine for certain folks. When you have a violent repeat offender, I don't believe they should be allowed to go in that program, because what will happen is we will face them while we're riding the subway, and our members, New York City police officers, will have to face them on the street. And we had that with Randolph Holder, that police officer who stopped a bicycle robbery, and he spun around and shot that police officer and killed him, a police officer from a family of police officers. Why? Because that perp was allowed to go back on the street through a diversionary program, which he never, ever should have been included in.
Has the City of New York or anyone else in the state asked you your opinion on this, or to work with them in changing the law? Senator Marty Gold and I are actually working on legislation now. I was wondering if anyone else has talked to you about this, or has the mayor had any discussions with you on this?
No, just the public discussion that happened after Officer Holder's assassination that day, but we look forward to working with you and to get that accomplished, to make all of us, quite frankly, all of us safe. But if the first-line police officers aren't safe, there's not a chance for the rest of us.
Sure. On that note, we are one of 3 states that does not consider the danger level of defendants when setting bail. I was just curious if you would comment on that as well, and if you have any proposals to change that.
Yes, traditionally now it's bail is used. Will that person come back to court? So we have cases where they don't and they still get bail, but obviously you should look and say, what condition are they in, what crimes have they have, and will they commit a violent crime? Even if they have the funds to be able to get out on bail, and whether they'll come back or not. What will they do while they're out? So I think it's very important you look at the background of each defendant in that case and make an educated decision on the information. So I believe that if you have a violent background, you should not be out.
Okay. So you would support, obviously, changing
Yes.
that law then? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. One last question. Just the 2014 sanctuary law prohibits NYPD from cooperating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. In fact, there was a report that was issued by the Criminal Bureau, Justice Bureau of the NYPD, that says 474 of the 504 immigration detainers received from the feds were not honored. I find this to be a little shocking. I think these sanctuary laws that were put in place by the City Council are really misguided. Do you have an opinion on this? I just want to know, what are your thoughts on this as well? Because, well, I'll let you speak first.
So we should be allowed to use every tool on the street as police officers to take someone that committed a crime. Look, police officers don't want to go out and go after undocumented folks. It's not what we're looking to do. We're out looking to keep everyone safe and do the job. But unfortunately, sometimes those same folks are committing crime, just like a person that's legally here in this country may commit a crime. So in both of those cases, we should be allowed to look at and use every aspect. Sometimes that aspect may be deportation. So we shouldn't be too quick to close doors on what we can use to make the streets safe.
There was an incident where someone who was undocumented on Staten Island was arrested for trespassing, was released back on the street, then later on was accused of rape. then they were brought back in. But the issue I find with this, some of these laws and the bail laws, is that some of these individuals won't come back for their court dates.
That's right.
So I think that's a major issue that we need to address as well. Do you have any suggestions on that front?
I think, again, part of the tools, and I'll begin research it some more for you and with you, but I think all those tools should be allowed. But if there's a violent history there, or there's a chance they're not coming back, they shouldn't be allowed out on bail. It's as simple as that. We think it should be a fair system in court. We think it should be a system where they're before the judge. But in order to make sure that happens, we have to make sure they show up. So if there's a violent history or they're illegal, they may not come back.
It seems some of these policies, they don't have common sense behind them. But I thank you so much for sharing your opinions. Thank you so much for what you do.